So today I was just going to talk you through how we produce the camellias which we sell. And I'm standing now in one of our mist propagation houses, and I'm looking at some trays of camellia cuttings which were taken about last October, last November, and they've been sitting on this heated bed, and you can see that one or two roots are starting to come through the bottom of this tray, and you can also see that these little cuttings are actually starting to put on new growth, so that tells us they've very probably rooted. Now in all we grow about between 280 and 300 different varieties of camellia, and so ensuring that the labels are correct is something of a problem. We've been potting these camellia cuttings now for about 3 weeks, and if we look in this tray here and I gently prise up a cutting, you'll see that they've all rooted together really rather well. And see that in the 8 or 9 months that cutting has been in this mist bench, it's produced a really good set of roots, and is now ready for potting on. And the first stage is to pot them on into a little 7 centimetre pot. There's going to be quite a lot of root in that pot, and if the weather is very hot, it pays just to leave them in shade as they are here, while they root out into their new pots just a little bit. I'll just pop that one back into the tray for a minute. But if we come down here, we see some of the larger leaf reticulator camellias, and some of them haven't rooted properly yet. They've formed a callus. You can see that sort of knobbly callus there, but no roots have yet come out of that. So we need to put them back into the heated mist bench, where another 3 months or so we hope that they will root. And it's quite normal for different varieties of camellia to take different periods of time to root, and you'll see that here and there we've had to reinsert a few cuttings, a few varieties that hadn't rooted. But in the main, when you look at these rather full trays here, you know for certain that they're ready for potting. So I'm talking now about June and July, and let's now move on and look at the next stages in the production process. So we've now moved on into the tunnel where the potted camellias are now sorted out and potted, and they're just settling into their new environment. They haven't really put on much new growth, and we probably pinched out some of the new growth on the cuttings when we potted them, so they'll make a more bushy, better shaped plant in the future. And of course one of the problems is you don't pot them in alphabetical order, you don't take the cuttings in alphabetical order, but actually we've got to sort these out because they will be in next year's catalogue. The plants will be a bit bigger than this, but they will be in these size pots, which is the smallest size of camellia which we offer. At the moment, some varieties are looking better than others, some are quicker into growth than others. Some of the japonica camellias are more sturdy as cuttings than the Williamsii camellias, but the Williamsiis will catch up. And you'll notice also that where there are flower buds appearing, which is very rare because we don't want the plant wasting its energy in a flower bud at this stage, so we're just pinching out the flower buds, and I can see another one with some flower buds just back here. All the energy of that cutting is going into these buds and not into producing some nice new growth, so we just need to pinch those buds out. So this is again a summer situation. These plants have just been potted. But let's go on and look at the next stage in the cycle. So in this tunnel we've got the same liners that you saw a minute ago, 1 year on in growth, and these have recently been potted into 1.5 litre pots, perhaps the bigger ones into 2 litre pots, and this is the main crop which we'll have for sale next year. And you can see how these plants are making very good secondary new growth. They're enjoying the new potting compost they're in, and they're making really good sized plants. You'll see also that we've now got individual labels on individual plants, whereas previously we just gave them a number and a name. Now we've actually got the full name label on each plant. And what we need to do now is to keep an eye on them and again pinch out some of the new growth which is getting too long and leggy. We want a nicely shaped plant with several branches rather than just one huge stem. The pinching out will take place progressively over the next 2 or 3 months because not all varieties need pinching out at this stage. Some haven't made the right amount of growth. We'll probably need to weed through this lot, but basically if you order a medium-sized camellia from Burncoose, this is what you'll be getting, and it'll probably be 9-12 inches taller than you see it at the moment. And when you pan back down through the different varieties, you can see different shades of green and coppery colour in the different varieties. And if you look on this side, we've got some really quite red new growth in some of the Circa varieties. So there's a great range of camellias, there's a great range of different growing habits. Some are tall and erect and some are more squat and spreading, as these ones here. But it's a very healthy crop, I'm pleased to say. There's some really good plants here, many thousands of really good camellias in a huge range, and that's the point. You may go into a garden centre and you may see 8, 10, 15 different varieties of camellia. They may be quite popular ones, but at Burncoose we're offering you a much greater spread of varieties, nearly 300 different ones, so you can choose whether you like single or double flowered camellias, whether you like anemone flowered camellias, whether you like big blousy huge flowers or tiny small attractive flowers. And when you go onto our website and you look at the individual pictures of these individual plants, you can make a choice and you can key through on the basis of colour and ultimate growing height and make your choice based on what you actually see in the flower and what you actually like. So the whole point is to give you the choice and to allow you to make your own judgment as to which camellias you wish to go for. Every year we introduce some new varieties which we're growing here as stock plants in the gardens, and those will be highlighted on the website and in the catalogue. So we've looked at camellia cuttings, we've looked at 1-year-old camellia liners, we've looked at 2-year-old 1.5 or 2 litre camellia plants, and now we're up in the nursery looking at the 3-year-old camellia plants which are in 4 or 5 litre pots. And there are 3 sizes available in our catalogue, but many of the varieties get sold out at the smaller size, so you need to check the website to see which varieties are still available in the 4 or 5 litre size, which can be a good 3 feet, maybe a little bit more, but not every variety grows that quickly, and just because it's in a 4 litre pot doesn't necessarily mean it'll be as tall as some of these, but the variation is there in height, but you're basically getting a 3.5-year-old plant rather than something that's only 2 years old. And you can see the variation in height and size quite clearly here. There are some smaller plants mixed in with them, but by next spring probably a lot of the larger size ones will already have been sold, and we'll be stocking up this area with the 2-year-old plants. Quite a few of these actually need potting on again now, and they need pinching out exactly as we were doing there to improve the shape of the plants and to get more bushy new growth. What I've tried to do is outline the cycle of camellia production, explain that lots of different varieties grow in different ways, and some are bigger than others, but the prices of the three different sizes have to take that into account, and they do. So the price is based on being 1.5 year, 2 or 2.5 year, 3 or 3.5 year old plants, and those are what the plants look like at the larger size, and that's what you see in our catalogue. And I hope that helps explain the questions which we get asked so often on the telephone and by email as to what small, medium and large camellias actually means. Hopefully you've now got sufficient explanation to be able to understand how our system works with all these hundreds of different camellia varieties.